today, I'd like to really talk about, specifically about the enterprise mobile security, and that's, we have spent, my team and myself actually spent so much time really developing, and actually, delivering the solutions to the market, and then how this, this mobile security and the platform we actually built, it's called Samsung Knox. And I'm going to talk about how that platform is really playing a central role in our future innovations. Okay. Samsung, when you think about Samsung, what do you think about? You think about, okay, this is, the Samsung is a leader in the consumer market and things like that, right? And you never think about Samsung. I don't know, probably some of them already, we actually spent so much, effort in the enterprise market for the last 5 years. But I think a lot of things actually we have developed in the consumer electronics actually made a good impression on you. But in fact, we have a long history of really delivering innovative solutions to the enterprise market. So to give you some example, Samsung actually built first icebreaker tanker, and the first automotive mounted batteries for the BMW i3 and the Chrysler F500 series, and the world's largest thermoelectric power plants, and that's probably surprising, right? I was also surprised to actually see this. First time seeing this slide, but our commitment to the customers has helped us deliver some of the world's most innovative business solutions, from national infrastructure to technological breakthroughs. And also, I'd like to really bring your attention to our new two devices. Because I'm from Samsung, I need to talk about new devices, right? So, this is the Galaxy, the Edge 6 Plus. And then the Note 5, actually, this is a very innovative device, especially for enterprise because of the ability to use the pen and larger display. And our Cupertino friends said that the smartphone with a large display will never work, right? Look who's being the copycat right now, right? So, all right. So. The mobility is taking on a more important role than ever in business growth, right? And they're really providing the security for this mobile phone is becoming really a hot issue these days, because there's so many attempts to hacking into the system and try to do a lot of malicious activity on your devices and taking your data out and without your knowledge, right? So, and what I'd like to talk about today is really our security platform, called Samsung Knox, which is embedded into a whole range of our devices. Most of our smartphone devices actually comes with a Knox embedded. When you take it out of box, it already comes with the highest level of security you can find in the industry. Okay. So here, it's a very complicated slide that actually shows the architecture of Samsung Knox. But it's when I first joined Samsung, when I was given the responsibility to lead enterprise businesses, first thing I actually done was actually go to the customers, ask them, what does it take to use Samsung devices in your workplaces? And most of them actually said, when it comes to Android, that the perception of security is very, very low and weak because it's an open system and so forth. And I think it is a lot to do with the perception, and also has a lot of when I look at this, the Android, basically the whole stack from the hardware kernel and framework and all of that, there's a lot of places where we can make an improvement. And that's what we actually done when we start working on this. Actually, we're going to the drawing board and start re-engineering entire stack of the operating system itself, right? And we started off from the really hardware, the chipset level, and putting the security features inside our chipsets, because we are also making chipsets. Also, we have a lot of influences to our chipset makers like Qualcomm's and so forth. We start leveraging their security features to implement our platform. And so first thing we actually done was that during manufacturing time, we're putting the root of trust in the device. It's like a hardware secret key, and that's actually fused into the device at the time of manufacturing, okay? Which can be only read by the trust zone. That's trust zone is really hardware, separated, the area where your execution from the normal world is actually separated, completely separated from this secure world. So what's running inside the trust zone is actually hardware protected, because in order to get into the trust zone, you need to actually execute the special, the hardware instructions to get in there. Okay, and so by having this root of trust inside the hardware itself, gives us a lot of power or leverage in implementing security features, like secure boot and trusted boot. And especially the trusted boot is that is something that during the boot time, it's not just saying, oh, secure boot is just to check the signature of the kernels and the software to make sure this is actually issued by Samsung. That's what the secure boot is doing. But we actually adding the first time the trusted boot capability on our Android devices, and then that was actually really influenced Google to start implementing similar features into the standard Android stack. And what Trust Boot is doing is taking the measurement during the boot time, of the integrity of the devices, and then has the ability to tell to the outside world that this device integrity is not compromised or not. Okay, so if it is compromised, then it's going to remember this by actually having this. Actually, there's a hardware fuse running, and that when the device integrity is compromised, it actually runs high current, and it really blow that fuse. It's called we call it warranty bit, but it's in fact the tamper-proof bit. So when that hardware fuse is blown, then you can still use the device, but you cannot actually decode the enterprise data that was or sensitive data. You actually protected by Knox, right? And so along with the remote attestation capability, that's combined with the trusted boot, it actually gives you ability to tell what device, from the remote administration, what device has, been compromised or not. That's really huge capability, and comes with our ability to monitor the health of the operating system and kernel inside the trust zone. It's called the TIMA. And then other key management, certificate management, a lot of those things comes along with that. And then built on top of it is the framework features like MDMs, and then VPN, or the like a DM Verity that we actually put it in, and a lot of data encryption components. And that's really the Knox platform. On top of that, we built a dual persona called container, and that gives the separation from your work, separation from your personal data, and you can store your application and the data, the enterprise data inside the Knox, we call it workspace or container. So when you can switch back and forth between these two personas. So that's like a really 5 minutes, kind of quick rundown of what the Knox platform is. Okay. Recently, we have received Gartner actually done the security review of various platforms, and including the iOS and the BlackBerry, and the Android, standard Android, and the Windows, okay? And then also Samsung Knox. And they actually scored Knox, they give the Knox the highest score among all of that, okay? And so this highlighted area that I've just pointed out, that's really a platform hardware component features. And we see that we actually have a lot of advantage over our competitors. And what's really interesting about this one is that they consider Samsung Knox as one of operating system, which is comparable to Android or Windows or iOS. Right? So that's what it is. When people think about a Samsung device, Samsung, they might think, oh, this is Google, standard operating system, which is not the case, in fact. What this really signifies is that the platform, the operating system you're getting, is really re-engineered version of Samsung, security properties, re-engineered on that device, completely different from the standard, the Android. But without really modifying any of the ecosystem, we still be very fully compatible with the Android ecosystem because it's passes the Google's CTS test and compatibility reviews. Okay, and also recently we got GSMA 2015 award. We're still in 2015, right? So award for the best security product. That's also, we're very proud of that award. And also, when you build the security solutions, you cannot build everything in your laboratory and say this is most secure. Nobody's going to trust that. And there got to be some third-party certifications and approvals to really validate that the security of the platform itself. We have garnered multiple a host of the security certifications from various governments, including U.S. government. And U.S. government, U.S. Department of Defense actually put Samsung Knox device in their approved product list, which means their employees can use it, and also it's actually can be. It also has the type of certification that's not only you can use it for general employees, also can be used for the really secret network. Where a class of CIAs and so forth can use. It's the only device, only platform that actually gets certified to that level. Not even BlackBerry, not even iOS, and Windows has that certification from the U.S. government. Because when we designed our Knox platform, we actually heard from various our government advisory members. Right? Those are actually we have this what we call SCAP, the Samsung Government Advisory Board, and that include members from the NSA and then UKCSG and then also the ainsi from the France and also the Germany and Australia and so forth. And they all provided input and feedback on what are the features they want. We start integrating those features inside our platform that actually resulted in getting the certifications from the various governments as it's shown in this graph, in this slide, okay? So when I talk about Knox, I'm talking about really the end-to-end components that's actually coming from the hardware all the way to the application. But it doesn't really talk about the network components of the security or the management component of security. We actually rely on third-party ecosystem to provide that solutions, like VPN solutions, Cisco's, Juniper's, and the partners actually providing such solutions. Also, a lot of NDM partners actually integrated with our devices already. That's I'm showing a lot of big names here, like BlackBerry actually Baz 12, they actually done the tight integration with the Knox latest Knox version 2.4. And they are offering a bundled pricing for that. and mobile iron, AirWatch, and good technology, and so forth. So it's just really a small number of the MDM we are showing here. In fact, the partner ecosystem is actually about right now. I think it's about 1,000 partners, and MDM partners and security solution partners. Okay, and so. Being in Monaco and close to France, I need to talk about France. I need to talk about the collaborations we're actually doing in France. And a lot of government actually wants their local solutions, and because that's it has the features and the set of the property that is required by local, by the particular governments. And so we partner with in France with ERCOM, and that giving that local features and local the validations, right? And working with ainsi to get the certifications. That's work in the progress, and providing French touch on our device, right? So last feature I want to talk about is that the latest feature that we just introduced to the market called the Knox Customization. So a lot of our competitor, the operating system, they don't allow any customization at all. What Android can give you is the ability to do a lot of flexible implementation of it. But if you start doing that, then you're really, without really having this discipline, then you start creating the fragmentation in the ecosystem. So what we actually done is that without really hurting the ecosystem, and without also rebuilding the binary, we allow the customer to customize our devices, the binary itself, right? So what type of features you want? Like you want your company logo appear when you actually boot the device. Instead of having the Samsung logo appear, you like to have your own logo appeared in there. Or you want to make sure your like a home button is being disabled, or you want to make sure certain features like Wi-Fi and things like pre-configured on the devices, right? So we allow that by actually without reissuing the binary, by just actually providing the SDK and then just implementing using the SDK, you can actually do the configuration. That was the Knox Customization Toolkit. But what the recent introduction to the market is that we give this ability, cloud ability, so that you can configure that device using your administrative console without really taking that device out of the box and putting USB and doing all kinds of work on it. You can actually, just by typing in the device ID number, you can pre-configure that device. And that's a huge advantage, and also really reduces the amount of work that the system integrator needs to provide, right? And this is a new functionality we offer. We call KCC, Knox Customization Configurator. And so I think this next video actually demonstrate how this customization is actually performed, actually done by one of our
XLR est une compagnie française basée à Roissy-Charles de Gaulle. Nous transportons environ 1 million de passagers par an. La compagnie a donc décidé de proposer une offre de qualité et modulable. C'est ce que nous appelons chez XLR l'essentiel pour bien voyager. Concrètement, nos hôtesses à bord mettent une tablette à nos passagers. Cette tablette contient des films, de la musique, un espace pour les enfants et de la presse. Ce service est offert aux passagers de la classe premium. En classe économique, il est proposé au tarif de 10 €. Nous avons fait appel à Interactive Mobility et Samsung qui nous ont proposé une solution simple d'utilisation pour nos passagers, facile à mettre en place et à gérer.
Nous proposons une plateforme de divertissement avec une grande variété de contenus, des films, dessins animés, magazines, de la presse, mais aussi des contenus touristiques. Nous avons choisi Samsung pour ce projet, pour la qualité de ses tablettes bien entendu, mais aussi pour son outil Knox Customization qui nous permet de personnaliser et de sécuriser les tablettes mises à disposition des passagers. Au-delà de l'expérience passager enrichie, l'avantage de cette solution, c'est qu'elle peut permettre aux compagnies aériennes de générer des revenus complémentaires.
Yeah, perfectly clear, right? Yeah. I don't understand any of those. Yeah. Right. So that's really the power of customization. So next topic I want to talk about, I think a lot of you been interested in this topic, is that when you're trying to adopt the Android device or Samsung devices, you have some concerns about it. We have been listening from our customers about this, right? So the first one is that security updates, right? So I mean, there's always security is not really, there's no perfect security from day one. You get, you have, always some, because human nature is always making bugs, right? And one of my engineers, I give him a nickname, Burger King, because he creates bugs all the time, right? Well, because of those, the software, the imperfections, and that actually lead into ability for the hackers, attackers to exploit and to get into really take the ownership of the device itself, right? And doing the privilege escalations and so forth. And there's some instance like stage fright, and so what really, as a manufacturer, and then also the platform provider needs to do is really being responsive to those type of security problems arising from the market. And so what we actually done is that so what been hearing is that Samsung, you need a really fast security updates. I mean, with being Samsung, we are producing devices like crazy, right? And one after another. There's so many devices, and there's so many carriers, and each carrier wants their own customizations and so forth. And each carrier also has their own review process, which takes lots of the testing, lab testing, which is becoming a bottleneck for all, because we have so many devices coming in, and also our competitors' device as well. And that's even if we actually quickly go patch that, and then it's always that our partner is becoming a bottleneck, and it takes really long time for the security updates finally reach our customers. Sometimes 6 months and so forth. So that's really a problem for our customers. We would like to really shorten that time period, and implement some regular cadence in our software update process. Okay. And another thing also we're hearing is that when you buy a device, there's no guarantee on the lifetime of that device, and device can be discontinued, right? And that's also really a loss of your the asset or the amount of money or value that you invested into the device, because you need to actually, then the support for device is going to be much I think deprioritized compared to the new devices coming along. And so device and the device end of life, we'd like to want to talk about that a little bit. And then also because there's so many devices, different type of devices, unlike our Cupertino friends. And what sometimes you actually see a device, the operating system updated on one device, and you don't see the device, software updates, different versions of Android running on different, devices. Then when you're trying to manage your own enterprise application, you always see that. Okay, I mean this, it runs on this device, it doesn't run on this device, so you have to manage many fragments of devices. And so we'd like to improve on all these 3 points, okay? And so I want to talk about more in depth about the fast security update part, that our commitment to the industry. And then also these 2 other components is that we are really making a lot of progress in that by actually having define a set of our device actually small set of our device, and make that as more of really, declare that as a really enterprise grade, and then guaranteeing like at the minimum like 2 years the end of life, the lifetime of that device. And then also providing regular updates for that device, and then doing making sure that the operating system versions across that device is actually consistent, actually going in a more of lockstep instead of done in kind of random fashion. So, but since because of time limit, I won't be able to talk about 2 and 3, but we'll have more details later on, and stay tuned for that details. And if I say there's a lot of you in the probably people from media, and then start asking my media guys, and then what's give me more details right now. Don't do that, right? So we'll work. We're still working on it, and also on the first point on the fast security update side. So what we actually done is we actually went back to our partners carriers, like more than 70 of the carriers, and told them, okay, we get the security problems, and we like to really issue our security patches, as soon as possible when there's, CVE list of the security problems, and also Google issued, a patch for those security problems. As a manufacturer, although we have so many device, portfolios, we like to ensure that our devices actually kept really up to date with the newest patches and so forth. So what we have done is we created a review process, and that reduces, instead of actually doing the full test of the entire capability of the device, and actually do paper review on the security patches. So when you actually send out the binary update, that binary update we call the security update, or security maintenance release, or security MR. And it only contains the security patches, no other like bug fixes or no other the functional enhancement. Just security updates only, and just do paper review, and within one or 2 days, or it takes maximally a week, and then just push it out to the customers. And then our commitment is that we like to do this for monthly, regularly, right? Every month, there's any of security problems we find, for the last month, or anything that was announced last month, we actually do it and do the patch in the next monthly updates, right? And for set of devices, and also for the other set of devices, because there's so many of them, just for one device, Galaxy S6, right? We are actually having different, like 200 different type of binaries going out there, right? And so it's a lot of load on us. So what we like to do is we like to schedule the other devices to be more quarterly updates. So really giving you a predictiveness, okay, and determinism in getting our software updates there. Okay, so this actually briefly shows the MR, security MR process. Basically, it actually goes through once from the CVE or Google patches discovered, and then we actually develop the patch and generate the MR, maintenance release, and we send that with our technical report to our carrier partners, and they do paper review, and they approve the maintenance release, and then it actually goes through either Samsung's its own the firmware upgrade over the air, we call it FOTA. Or it's actually some carriers that actually use their own FOTA system, over-the-air upgrade system. So it's actually taking different route on that. Okay. That's pretty much about what our kind of security components, security properties of our platform, and the process. What I'd like to talk about is the two things. In fact, it's one. The security, mobile security, is now becoming really a fundamental components of any innovations that is actually made in the industry. Like the good example is that what the Samsung Pay is the mobile payment solution we just announced and launched in the Korea and the US. And when you talk about doing the like credit card payments offline, right, at the store, using mobile phone instead of your plastic credit card, right? First thing you have to think about is this really secure? Right? So that's a lot of the hard work we put it in Knox is going to be pay off. Well, not no pun intended, but pay off with the mobile payment, right? And with the mobile payments built on top of Knox the platform features and provide a lot of enhancement in terms of all those malicious activities and things like that is actually providing protection for the sensitive data. And so the Samsung Pay attack line is really a simple pay because by using a fingerprint and simply, it takes 1 or 2 clicks, then you get the payment. And then also secure, as I said. Also, one of the things is that it's actually accepted almost everywhere, unlike our competitor solutions. Because we are using what we call magnetic secure transmission technology. It actually works with not just NFC, that what you're seeing on the regular, most of the competitor mobile payment solutions, right? But it also works at all the magstripe card readers out there. Okay, but now you're saying, oh, magstripe, technology is obsolete, and people are trying to replace it. But what we've been doing is that we've been actually putting the chip and pin type of the security components on this magnetic transmission. Okay, so it actually does first does the tokenization, which means that instead of actually sending credit card information when you do the payment, it actually transmits a one-time use a security code or just a temporary number. You can use for one transaction. You transmit that. Even if the hackers actually eavesdrop that, they won't be able to use it anymore. And also, it's actually combined with our the fingerprint authentications and then the Knox platform. It actually gives you the complete, really huge boost in terms of security guarantees, right? And that makes this mobile payment more secure than your plastic card payments, because you can actually remotely do a lot of lifecycle management on the device. When you lose a plastic card, just like that, we can actually, for this one, you can go, to the simply a web server and then just simply, reconfigure the device to remove the payment, applications and block that. And a lot of those remote management can be done, and also it's remotely issue credit cards and so forth, right? So the video we'd like to show is actually kind of describing how easy it is for the consumers to do the payment with the mobile device. All right, next video.
Anything else today, dear?
Just the coffee, thanks.
How do you want to pay for that?
I'll just use my phone.
Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that here. Did you install something?
$34.79.
You see that? She just paid using her phone.
I know, but they don't have the tap thingy here.
Are you sure that's gonna work here? Yeah, why wouldn't it? I've just never seen anyone pay with their phone here. I think those only work at, like, fancy grocery stores. We fancy.
Introducing Samsung Pay, the new mobile payment that works virtually anywhere your cards can be swiped or tapped, so you can use it without changing the places you shop, just the way you pay.
I hope the irony of me using my mobile to pay for food at a mobile food truck is not lost on you gentlemen.
we're at the fancy place, right? Here. Okay, so guess the last topic is that not just the payment, and we're going forward like Internet of Things, like connected car, healthcare, or smartphone. All of this actually involves the control of devices, right? So when you think about control of the car with your, either wearables or your phone, you always think about security, right? What if that's some malicious activity coming in and do something on your car? And that's really a serious problem. Healthcare, protection of your private data, private information about your health needs a lot of security, and that's provided by Knox. And smart home, that's another example. So all of this, really the foundation of all this new innovation actually starts from the security. So Samsung, having invested so much into building Samsung Knox, which is certified by various government agencies and entities, and providing that hardware to all the way to the application. Because we are the manufacturer. Actually, we are a hardware manufacturer. We can go deeper into the hardware, so can provide that really tightly integrated out-of-box security, guarantees and properties. And that's no other guys, even our partners like Google can replicate, because they only own the operating system. We own the entire the operating system and the hardware itself. That's why Samsung Pay, if you actually read the Wall Street Journal article that came out 2 days ago, is saying Samsung Pay is really the best solution out there, is going to be the winner of mobile payment war, right? So you can go and read that article, and so that's all this power actually coming from the security and the hardware, the components, because the MSDs and that's hardware components that nobody can replicate, but then the manufacturer like Samsung. So that's the end of my talk.